Hi, I'm Ian Banyard. I'm the author of Natural Mindfulness, a guidebook to the healing power of nature and mindfulness. And just listen. The bird song is orchestral, isn't it? I'm hugely fortunate that just across the road from where I live is this wood. It's one of the places I love to come and sit and contemplate, listening to this orchestra of bird song. And also, it's a village, so there's also the day-to-day sounds in the village. The occasional car will drive past. There's less these days while we're in lockdown. Sometimes talking if somebody's out walking their dog. Sometimes a mobile phone going off, or sounds coming from the houses. And this morning I was thinking about how we process sound. In my book there's a walk with an exercise called mindful listening, and it's encouraging you to tune your ears into nature. So rather than rely on your eyes, it's almost it's an ear-led, a sound-led exercise where you mindfully listen to the sounds around you, and either close the eyes or just lower your vision, just relax your vision, and then listen. And when something catches your attention, the attention of your ears, just move to where you heard that and see if you can then find what you heard. So your eyes are following your hearing rather than all of our other senses following what we see, which is the usual way that we function. We're very sight driven, especially as there's more screens, more digital information. We're seeing much more than we're often hearing and feeling. Our what I call our inner whisper, the consciousness that speaks to us inside often, and even people on the outside we don't hear when we're transfixed, when we're looking at things like the TV or screens. And hearing, our hearing doesn't often get developed as much. So this is a great opportunity to come out and listen. So much to hear around us right now. And as I said, I was contemplating this morning, and one of the people on my guide training course at the moment, I'm coming to the end of my 5th 21-day online guide training program for Natural Mindfulness, and one of the participants contacted me to say that she was out and it was very difficult to make her video for the training because there's so much noise around. And it's interesting, isn't it, that there are sounds around me now, and there is also noise around me. And it's interesting, we have two words in English, don't we? Noise and sound. And what does noise mean to you? If you hear a noise, or if you hear noise, how is that different from hearing sound? And I'd suggest, and I'd guess maybe for you, because it's how it is for me, I often find noise annoying. And I think those words are linked. I think annoyance is very close to noise. I think maybe it comes from the same root. And in fact, I did search the root, and I found that the root of the word noise is it's a Latin word, comes from Latin and Old French. And it's related to another word, sounds a little bit like noise, and that's nausea. So noise and nausea come from the same root in Latin. And go and check it out if you don't believe me. And so noise, when we hear something as noise, it's often something that's irritating or interfering or disturbing us. So I could sit here and say, the beautiful sound of the bird song is being disturbed by some banging just across my shoulder here. There's somebody building on the back of one of the cottages. The noise of the builder is distracting me from hearing the beautiful sound of the birds. It's interesting. So when we use the word noise, we already have a judgment, we already have a meaning that's in some way irritating or disturbing us. So whenever you catch yourself describing something as a noise, notice if that's affecting your feelings in a negative way. I certainly know for me, if there's a lot of noise around, I'm often in more of a stressful state and more of an irritable state if there's too much noise for me to think or too much noise for me to focus on something. And we very rarely say, the noise of the birds is drowning out the sound of the man doing some roofing further on over there, or the sound of the birds is drowning out or the noise of the birds is drowning out the sound of traffic on the road. We don't use it that way, do we? So we're putting meaning in the words that we're using. So natural mindfulness is very much about, recognizing that everything is sound. Mindful listening is understanding that everything is sound, and it's only our choice in the meaning we put on it that decides whether or not it disturbs us or brings us pleasure. All sound is orchestral. All sound is beautiful in its own way, and it's all natural in its own way. It's only us that decides what meaning we're going to put to it. And when you can remove the meaning, mindfully remove the meaning or any judgment about how you're describing the sensation of sound, you'll find that in the moment you're in tune. Interestingly, something else I came across today was that there's a German word, and this thanks to Ina, who's on my course. She introduced me to a German word called Larm, L-A, with some dots I think above it, R-M, Larm. And larm is the irritating sound, the sound that causes us distress when we hear it. And it's interesting that we've picked that word up. So we've picked the French word of noise up, coming from nauseous and annoyance. And we've also picked up a German word in our heritage somewhere, which is larm, because most people wake up to a alarm clock in the morning, an alarm. And when we hear the alarm, do we wake up feeling refreshed? Do we wake up feeling we've had a good night's sleep? Or do we wake up in a panic? Do we wake up in do we feel an annoyance or a frustration at that word? So the word alarm and the word noise are very similar. They're words that we've put a meaning onto that creates stress for us and creates disturbance and distress for us. So I thought that was worth sharing. That's a little natural mindfulness moment. And if you're interested in natural mindfulness, if you'd like to find out more, the easiest way is to go to my website, ianbanyard.com, and you can find lots of information about natural mindfulness and what I'm doing with natural mindfulness. You can also access information about my book, Natural Mindfulness, Your Personal Guide to the Healing Power of Nature Connection, and all my courses are on there. At the moment I'm only running online courses, but once the lockdown's lifted, I run face-to-face courses and I run guided natural mindfulness walks most months. So anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any comments to make, if you know something about these words we use to describe sound, or if you've got any comments you want to make about mindful listening and nature-based well-being, please feel free to put them in the comments below. So thank you for listening, and stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care now. Bye-bye.